Cain commits the first murder in the Bible. He ignores God's warning, leads his brother into a field, kills him, and then denies responsibility. God responds by cursing Cain and driving him from the land. But when Cain says someone will kill him, God does something unexpected. He protects him. God warns that anyone who kills Cain will face sevenfold vengeance, then gives Cain a sign so no one will strike him down. Why would God protect the murderer when Abel received no protection at all? The answer begins with what the sign did not mean. It did not declare Cain innocent. Before Cain raises any fear for his own life, God announces the crime. Abel's blood is crying from the ground. The soil Cain worked will no longer yield its strength to him. He will become a fugitive and a wanderer, separated from the land and from the life he once knew. Cain is spared, but he is not restored. That distinction matters because the sign is often remembered as Cain's curse. In the passage, however, the curse and the sign are different. The curse comes from the blood-soaked ground. The sign comes afterward, specifically to stop someone from killing him. The text never explains what the sign looked like. It may not even have been a mark on his skin in the way later art often imagines it. What Genesis explains is its purpose, protection. And that creates the real problem. Cain has taken a life. Why should his own life now be guarded? One possible answer is that God is preventing the first murder from becoming the beginning of endless revenge. Cain believes that once he becomes a wanderer, anyone who finds him may kill him. That fear assumes a world where blood is answered with more blood, and each killing invites another. God interrupts that pattern before it begins. The sevenfold warning does not give Cain permission to escape justice. It removes vengeance from the hands of whoever happens to find him. Cain's life remains under God's judgment, not under the anger of the next person carrying a weapon. The rest of the chapter makes that possibility difficult to ignore. Several generations later, Cain's descendant Lamech boasts that he killed a man for wounding him. Then he takes the protection spoken over Cain and magnifies it. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, Lamech declares, then he will be avenged 77-fold. The language of protection has become a threat. Violence no longer appears as a desperate act followed by fear. It has become something a powerful man celebrates. Genesis moves from one brother's murder to a culture where revenge is exaggerated and proudly announced. Seen in that light, the sign of Cain may be less about rewarding Cain and more about placing a boundary around human retaliation. But there is another possibility. Cain's continued life may itself be part of the sentence. A quick death would end his wandering. Instead, he must live east of Eden, away from the ground that used to give him identity, carrying the knowledge of what he did. Protection keeps others from replacing God's judgment with their own, but it does not remove the consequences Cain must endure. The strongest objection remains obvious. This still feels unfair to Abel. Abel's blood cries out, while Cain speaks, fears, builds a family, and even establishes a city. The murdered brother disappears from the story, while the murderer continues through it. Genesis does not soften that imbalance or explain it away. It does not say Cain deserved mercy. It does not say Abel's life mattered less. It places judgment and protection beside each other and leaves the tension visible. What is certain is that God did not excuse Cain. He cursed him, displaced him, and confronted the blood he tried to hide. What is plausible is that God protected Cain to prevent justice from turning into uncontrolled revenge, and perhaps to force Cain to live beneath the consequences of his act. Cain was protected, but he was never declared free. The sign did not erase the murder. It stopped the first murder from deciding how every murder afterward would be answered.